Welcome to A Sparkling Vintage Life, where we talk about all things vintage and celebrate the grace and charm of an earlier era. I'm your host, Jennifer Leo, and today I'm going to give you a literary snippet. I like to do these every month or so, read from a book that has me absolutely charmed, and I hope it will do the same for you. Today's book I've chosen Diary of a Provincial Lady by E.M. Delafield. This book was first published in, I believe, 1930 in England, and let me read you just a review from the back cover, which will give you some idea what it's about. Diary of a Provincial Lady is the fictional journal of a middle-class wife and mother with literary aspirations, who is muddling through her relentlessly domestic existence with wit and more than a little ruefulness. The territory is very much like Jane Austen's, the narrow hierarchical society of an English country town, dominated in 1930, as it was in Austen's day, by the local noble family. This book has something in common with Irma Bombeck's self-mocking chronicles of housewifely humiliation, but it is understated humor and is unmistakably English, reminiscent of Austen, Barbara Pym, another of my favorites, and Angela Thirkell, with just a hint of Rebecca West's acerbic feminism. It is a small gem of social satire. And that review came from Nina King of Newsday. So I'm going to read you the opening of this book, which is written in diary format, hence the title, Diary of a Provincial Lady. I think you'll really enjoy it. And to me, if this woman were next door to me, we'd be best friends. November 7th. Plant the indoor bulbs. Just as I am in the middle of them, Lady Box calls. I say, untruthfully, how nice to see her, and beg her to sit down while I just finish the bulbs. Lady B makes determined attempt to sit down in armchair where I have already placed 2 bulb bowls and the bag of charcoal, is headed off just in time, and takes the sofa. "Do I know," she asks, "how very late it is for indoor bulbs?" "September, really, or October is the time." "Do I know that the only really reliable firm for hyacinths is somebody of Haarlem?" Cannot catch the name of the firm, which is Dutch, but reply, "Yes, I do know, but think it is my duty to buy Empire products." Feel at the time, and still think, this is excellent reply. Unfortunately, Vicky comes into drawing room later and says, "Oh, Mummy, are those the bulbs we got at Woolworth's?" Lady B stays to tea. Memorandum: bread and butter too thick. Speak to Ethel. We talk some more about bulbs, the Dutch school of painting, our vicar's wife, sciatica, and all quiet on the Western Front. Query: is it possible to cultivate the art of conversation when living in the country all year round? Lady B inquires after the children. Tell her that Robin, whom I refer to in a detached way as the boy, so that she shan't think I'm foolish about him, is getting on fairly well at school, and that Mademoiselle says Vicky is starting a cold. "Do I realize," says Lady B, "that the cold habit is entirely unnecessary, and can be avoided by giving the child a nasal douche of salt water every morning before breakfast?" Think of several rather tart and witty rejoinders to this, but unfortunately not until Lady B's Bentley has taken her away. Finish the bulbs and put them in the cellar. Feel that, after all, cellar is probably draughty, change my mind and take them all up to attic. Cook says something is wrong with the range. And that was the first entry in Diary of a Provincial Lady, which I highly recommend. If you want to hear more of Diary of a Provincial Lady, I discuss it a little on episode 5 of my audio podcast called A Sparkling Vintage Life. So if you go to sparklingvintagelife.com/podcast and look for episode 5, that's the grace note of the day, is Diary of a Provincial Lady. And also I talk in that episode about 20 Shortcuts to Charm by the book by Arlene Francis from, I believe it was 1960 was the book. So if the topic of charm and Diary of a Provincial Lady interests you, go look for episode 5. And meanwhile, you have a sparkling week. Thank you for visiting. Bye-bye.